Sha'ccari Richardson and Brianna Williams are undoubtedly two of the biggest prospects in sprinting today. They have dominated their peers and showed enough signs that their talent could be considered next level. So with these two sprinters on the verge of kick-starting a brand new era of female sprinting, we take a look to see who may someday be referred to as the undisputed queen of sprinting. In terms of personal bests, Shaccari has better times over the 100 and 200 meters, having bests of 10.75 and 22.00 respectively, which are marginally ahead of Brianna's 11.02 and 22.5. Interestingly though, Brianna, despite being 2 years younger, has a faster 60 meters than Richardson, clocking 7.15, which outdoes Richardson's 7.20. It is important to note that Brianna's 60 meters time was done outdoors, meanwhile facing heavy headwinds. However, comparing times at this point would be a little unnecessary given the age gap and the fact that these two have a long way to go. What we could compare, though, is how these two compete on big stages. Richardson has not competed at many international meets, but she has competed against the pros, and despite a bad showing the Prefontaine Classics in 2019, where she finished 4th, not even going under 11 seconds, along with her last place finish at the USA National Championships the same year, she bounced back ferociously in 2020. She went unbeaten over the 100 meters and losing only twice from her 13 races in the entire season. Brianna, on the other hand, showed no hiccups on the big stages. She went from being an underdog in both sprint events at the World Junior Champs to actually winning both events. In her first major race against top pros at the Racers Grand Prix 2018, she finished 3rd, finishing only behind Jenna Prandini and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. The following year, at just 17 years old, she finished 3rd behind Elaine Thompson and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce in 10.94 seconds, a time which would have been a world youth record if it was ratified by World Athletics. So in terms of taking on the very best in Elaine and Shelly-Ann so often will eventually be of benefit to young Williams, but Richardson has been showing signs that she is ready to take on all comers over the last year, rebuilding her confidence, something crucial at the elite level. Impressively are two very contrasting sprinters. They are like the younger versions of Carmelita Jeter and Fraser-Pryce. Richardson is duly noted for her nearly unmatchable top-end speed. It is almost impossible to run away from her. We saw at the SEC Championships in 2019 a prime example of just how good she was, because despite receiving the baton in 3rd on the final of the 4x1 relay, she caught her opponents, then opened a solid enough gap to jog down to the line. However, for all that top speed, she does not have the best of starts. This shows through her performances in the 60 meters races, as she was beaten by numerous opponents during her 2019 indoor season. This makes things very interesting if she does improve her acceleration. Williams does not have such struggle because she is an actual beast from the gun. Her acceleration gives even some of the fastest women in the world trouble. Let's take her run at the 2019 national trials for example. In the first 20 to 30 meters she was level with Fraser-Pryce, one of the greatest starter in the history of female sprinting. Not to mention that for that period, she was actually leading the Elaine Thompson, the reigning Olympic champion. What she did not have though is that top-end speed to match these two when they got up to their max speed phase. This is something that in due time will improve for the 18-year-old because it'll get better with proper training. Regarding who might be considered the future queen of sprinting, it is quite evident that these two have so much more to offer on the track and a lot of improvements. But even with their talent, we have to keep in mind that there are so many more young talents around and some that may emerge in the future. So what we can do is get ready to watch scintillating performances from what is looking to be one of the most exciting generation of female sprinters so far.